Thank you so much for taking the time. I want to take you on the quickest trip down memory lane before I ask my question, if that's okay. About 5 years ago, shortly after you were released from WWE, I remember you were in a certain rock club in Glasgow watching WrestleMania 31 on the big screen with a load of us. And 5 years later, on the stage, essentially, that we were watching that night, you won the big one. You won the WWE Championship. But my favourite thing about the Drew McIntyre that we're seeing right now is how much freedom you seem to have. It seems like it's just you going out there. I don't know if it's a compliment or an insult, but it seems like you're just going out there and naturally being yourself. Who is to thank for that? Have you got, what kind of influences the likes of Paul Heyman, Triple H or Vince McMahon had on that? Or is it just all you being yourself?
I mean, inevitably, it comes down to Vince McMahon being, cool with everything. And if it's working, he's going to be cool with it. I think like a Paul Heyman knows exactly who I am, what I'm capable of, and what I was doing outside of the company, and was maybe looking for that opportunity to let me be myself, to allow Mr. McMahon to see that. And as well as a writing team, they follow the stuff outside the company. Some great people we work with. But that's the cool thing about right now, aside watching the WrestleMania in the Cat House all those years ago and actually being in the main event. WrestleMania is pretty crazy. But yeah, I can't pinpoint it exactly. But Paul Heyman reminded me recently that there was a particular promo I did. There was a dark match after Raw finished. It was a cage match. They basically said, go buy some time. I went out, sat in the barricade, and I was just myself. I was Drew Galloway. I interacted with the crowd, and I remember fans stopping and turning around and walking back down because I was just having fun, being silly, being the real Drew, being sarcastic, telling jokes that aren't funny half the time. And that's the real me. But when the bell rings, they always know I'm going to kick butt. And I guess that's part of my charm, is that I'm a bit goofy and a bit silly at times. But when it comes down to it, I will kick your butt, and I've got a relatable story. So it is really cool to be the real me. And like you say, if you looked at the pieces of paper that say words on them before I go out there, I'd be shocked if you found 4 that actually come out on television. Because I just speak right from the heart. It comes from Drew. I am Drew. I know Drew because I'm the real Drew, and I get that guidance from people around me to keep bringing the world Drew, and hopefully it resonates with everybody.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, bud.
Thanks, Gary. Kenny, let's come to you next.
Hey, Drew, how's it going?
Good, Kenny. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. So my question, I want to ask you, everybody's talking about The Last Ride and they're watching the documentary series. And I kind of got to thinking, because you'd said to BT Sport, you were originally going to face Taker at WrestleMania 26. That was one of the ideas. And then 9 years later, Taker has this match with Goldberg that goes, in his own words, really badly. And then less than a month later, or just more than a month later, you're in a tag match with Undertaker. It's a big pressure situation. Can you take us back to that situation? How do you find out you're in the match? And talk us through that day with all that was kind of on the line.
I think I found out I was in the match, close to the last minute. I remember when Taker came back, it was one of the few surprises in wrestling because it's so hard to keep a secret with social media these days. And when we managed to get right up till Taker appearing, the lights went out. When we're about to give the coast to coast to Roman, I was holding Roman in the corner. The lights went out, Rhea came on, and Taker was standing right there. And the reaction around the building, the reaction of social media was that of pure shock. So for a start, I was proud that we actually kept a secret for once. And building up to the match, myself, Shane, and Roman were very adamant, we're going to give him a match he deserves after that last match. And it didn't go particularly well. And in my head, I was thinking, this has been coming a long time for myself. I don't know how many matches he's got left in him. I got a few things on my list I really want to accomplish. Now that I'm back in WWE, number 1 was become champion. Got that right here. And up there was getting that big singles match with The Undertaker. And I'm all about moments these days rather than just necessarily the moves in there. The moves are cool. It's good to have a good match, but it's all about the story in those moments. And I suggested to Taker, I don't know if you remember, the one point we came face to face in the match, and he was cool with that. And I could hear the crowd rumbling. And then at the very end, for the finish, we did the throat slash, and I appeared up behind him. That was a couple of cool moments. We had that match. I received, really well. He was very happy with it, and I might have dropped into conversation. It was a certain match were hoping to have about 10 years ago. Now that we've been in there together, and kind of what I'm capable of these days, and the way I think these days, I think he seemed pretty keen that we could do something down the line. And fingers crossed that match happens, because I really think we do something special.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, buddy.
Cool. We're going to come to Andy Spores. We'll come to you next.
Hi, Drew. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us.
Go on, buddy.
You've been very vocal in flying the flag as being the first ever British WWE champion. My question would be, who do you think could become the second in the future?
Because I've not even thought about it. I'm so concerned about staying the first British champion for the next 20 years, if possible. I reckon like Pete Dunne has obviously been doing a great job thus far. So that everybody has NXT UK and our British superstars over here. I'm just amazed by the representation we have these days. I reckon Pete, he gets a good response from the crowd. He is very good in the ring. He's incredibly young. I think he's going to have a good shot at being number 2. But don't be surprised if someone else jumps in there also, because there's so much talent.
Awesome. We're going to come over to Tony Kwan next.
Hi, Drew. Hope you're well.
Dandy.
I understand it's someone's birthday next Saturday. So my question is, how does WWE Champion spend his birthday? And if he was to only get one gift, what would that be and why?
If R-Truth and Rey Mysterio could tell me where the Fountain of Youth is, so I can go swimming around in it and start aging backwards like them, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm coming up my 35th birthday, which is crazy. I mean, people do think I'm older than I actually am. Everyone thinks I'm in my real late 30s, early 40s. I've been around for so long. It's just crazy to me that I've been in America for so long now, coming up for 13 years. I spoke to Dave Kapoor, one of our writers, backstage at Raw the other day. And I told him you did my first ever backstage pre-take when I was talking about getting dual citizenship. And I was 22 at the time, and I'm coming up for 35. So it's been mental. But yeah, I'll be hoping that the Ray and Truth reveal the secret for the Fountain of Youth.
Well, I hope you have a good birthday anyway.
Just that.
Thanks, Tony. We're going to come over to Paul Wycherley. Over to you next.
Hi, Drew. How you doing, bud?
Fantastic. It's really weird because I'm seeing like a mini me in the corner, and then I've got a giant me in the middle. It's like I'm talking to myself the whole time. You all are just voices in my head.
We'll try not to confuse you that often then. Right. My question is, with the current public health crisis going on, how much harder has it been for wrestlers to really tell their story in the ring with no fans?
I mean, obviously, the fans are our number one superstar. They create the atmosphere. But, WWE is all about innovating. And me personally, I'm all about innovating and thinking outside of the box. I think from a match perspective, you really got to think about it and change it up, and maybe don't sit on those slow holds for too long and try and keep the pace going. I will also try to tell your story at the same time. So match-wise, definitely has required a lot more thinking, and I hit harder because you can hear all the strikes, and I already hit hard to begin with. But from the promo-wise, I think it's a very good time if you know your character, to get your character out there and have people invested in you. And WWE at its heart, it's all about storytelling and characters. And I think with the attention fully on you, with like nobody shouting over you, the spotlight's on you, if you're able to really embrace that character, you know who you are, you're able to educate everybody exactly who you are. By the time the crowds come back, they're going to care about you a lot more. And I think people should really be taking advantage of this time right now to get those characters over. We'll figure it out. What's the best way to go about the matches to make it, more exciting for the viewers at home without that atmosphere.
That's great. And the last one I was going to say was you won the title against a cage fighter. You've had a lot of good competition so far and defended the title very bravely. But up next is Bobby Lashley, another fighter. Will this be just as tough as Brock Lesnar or even harder?
I don't get paid by the hour, so hopefully I can beat him in 5 minutes too. But yeah, Lashley's more focused than he's ever been. He's a huge guy, a strong guy, a fast guy. He's undefeated, like you say, in the MMA world, in Bellator, and he's the kind of Lashley that I've been hoping to see on WWE TV. This soap opera wedding stuff is for some people. It's not for me. The show should be, a lot of different entertaining things for everybody, but Bobby Lashley is not that. He's a killer, and the partnership with MVP and Lashley is exactly the perfect pairing to bring out the real Lashley. He's been on a different level these past few weeks. I felt it on Monday when we're brawling with each other. I don't know how anybody's been in the cage with that man. And I know at Backlash, if Edge and Randy Orton are going to have the greatest match, sorry, let me get it right. If Edge and Randy Orton are going to have the greatest wrestling match ever, then Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre are going to have the greatest fight ever.
Leanne, we're going to come over to you next. Leanne.
Okay, hi Drew. Leanne Marie from Wrestling. So the last time we were able to really get together as a crowd with our friends to watch you was the Royal Rumble. And I actually hosted the Hooked On party in Leeds for that event, and it was absolutely deafening when you won the Rumble. But what I want to ask you is, in terms of proudest moments of your career, where does seeing the crowd's reaction at the Glasgow Hooked On Wrestling party rank for you? That's when the crowd went absolutely crazy. The video, of course, went viral over your Royal Rumble win. And also, to follow up from that, how did it compare with the crowd reaction in the stadium?
I mean, it was much the same, I guess, in a more compact environment. Scottish people can be amazingly loud. And like you say, it wasn't just in Scotland. I saw videos from England, from America, from Canada, from all over the world. Just that particular video went viral. And the UK videos, you don't see a reaction like that unless it's like a cup final and somebody scores a winning goal in the very last minute, is where you see that kind of reaction. And the idea that it was for me and winning the Royal Rumble is just incredible to even could imagine it, never mind it actually happening. So that was very, very special to me. And the fact I was in the arena, and obviously the Brock Lesnar elimination was completely deafening. I was liking this before I walked out there to, I don't know if some of y'all have seen the movie A Star Is Born, like right before Lady Gaga walks on stage to sing the song, and she's thinking to herself, right, it's now or never. I've always heard potential. I'm going to be the future for my entire career. And I was like, man, I need to be the now. When I walked out there to that ring, that was my walking on the stage moment from A Star Is Born. And to hear the crowd react the way they did for the elimination of Lesnar, and then going right through the Rumble, eliminating 6 people, but also knowing the Edge is coming out, and the crowd have turned on people before when they don't get the winner they want, and he was out right before Roman, right before the end. They could have turned. The fact they didn't, and when I eliminated Roman, reacted just as loud as the Lesnar elimination, meant the world to me, because I'm used to being booed in WWE, so it's pretty crazy.
Jerry at Sports Matters. We'll come to you next, Jerry.
Oh yeah, Drew, how's things, my man? Hope all is well.
Fabulous, buddy.
So I just have to ask you, Drew, we have to rewind many years ago to your time in Ireland with Irish Whip Wrestling. Can you tell us some stories, and obviously the success you had there? Obviously it was good times.
Yeah, it was great times. That's back in the infant stages of European wrestling. We just really didn't have anywhere to learn as such. There was All-Star Wrestling was the only full-time place in the whole of Europe, where I worked as often as I could, especially during the summer. But during that period, like myself and Sheamus would travel around Scotland, England, and Ireland. He would take his video camera, would record the matches, and we're basically trying to teach ourselves and help each other out. How can we get better? And Irish Whip had the only television show on the wrestling channel, so we were on that, which gave us some TV experience. Although half the time we're doing our interviews, we didn't realize you're supposed to talk towards the hard camera here. We do most of our interviews like this. Okay, everybody. So the people over here were having a great time, but the people at home had no idea what was going on with our faces because we talked for the back of our heads. But that was a great time, great learning experience. Yeah, I was like 19 at the time. Sheamus was about 37. Joking. And we had some really fun times as well, inside and outside the ring, that I can't talk about.
Good man. And I just have to ask you quickly, Drew. Jinder Mahal, obviously a good friend of yours. Is it possible that we could see a showdown maybe at WrestleMania 37?
Yeah, I think there should be a showdown, be it a WrestleMania or any pay-per-view, as long as there's the appropriate build and appropriate story told for the fans to invest. It's not just we're both in 3MB. There's so much more to it than that. There's what happened in the ring, and especially what happened out the ring that people don't know about, and our personal and private lives and what was going on at the time, especially with me. And he was there the whole time, and both getting fired, and then me, trying to get out there in the independents and make my name. And he went off and really kind of gave up, stopped working out, turned his life around, came back to WWE, became WWE champion before me. Wasn't exactly as universally praised as when I finally won the WWE Championship. So there's so many possible layers to this story that the world have seen on television and have not seen that could really make for like one of the most memorable feuds of all time. We have so much material.
Louis Dangle. I was about to call you Louis Danger, which I feel like could be your new name. Louis Dangle. We're going to come over to you.
Louis Danger.
Yeah.
That's what my boss tried to call me, trying to get it over on YouTube, but I've told him no, it's Dangle, so we're going with that. How are you, Drew?
I'm good, Danger. Good to talk to
you. So we've seen, obviously, you have some great matches with Andrade, Seth, Murphy, even Big Show, Lesnar over the past few weeks, and even Corbin from SmackDown. Who are some people that you haven't been in the ring with yet that you'd like to, perhaps even from NXT, if the possibility of sort of a matchup with someone down there came about?
I mean, the number one, I guess I always say, is AJ Styles. It happened again. I don't know what the deal is with him and I. We're always like ships in the night, and we keep missing each other, be it away from WWE, go towards Impact Wrestling. He's going out. We're booking the same independent shows. It can't quite work out, or he's on and I'm off, on, he's off. He comes back to WWE, I come back to WWE. We're both on Raw, but hey, we're both bad guys. Finally, I'm a good guy, he's a bad guy. It's going to happen. He disappears to SmackDown, so I guess we'll have to wait for that match still. Nonetheless, yeah, that's up there. And if I'm going to pick anyone from NXT, there's so many. I feel like Adam Cole and I have more to finish. Like when I won the NXT Championship, Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era debuted. They attacked me. They had the crowd chanting Adam Cole baby as I lay there with the title and stole my moment. I did get a little bit of retribution when it was myself versus Cole with Shawn Michaels as the ref, which was a funny graphic before Shawn cut his hair. It was myself and Cole with Shawn in the middle, and it looked like a dad's refereeing a fight between the big brother and the little brother or something. So that was a lot of fun, but I feel like there's more to that when Cole probably shows up on Raw or SmackDown, and then I'll have to use the brand Invitational, but I'll go kick his butt somewhere.
But both of those are extremely interesting prospects. I know you spoke quite heavily about wanting a UK pay-per-view. If Vince said to you, listen, Drew, you've got the book for this one, you main event, who are you facing? Is it AJ or Cole, or is it a UK-based wrestler that you'd like to face at that pay-per-view?
That's a good question. I would just be so excited to have the UK pay-per-view. I just never shut up about it. I shout it from the rooftops every time I can, because the UK deserves a pay-per-view the level of SummerSlam 92. I know it would sell out. I know it would do incredible. I know it would be such huge news. I don't understand the logistics. It would have happened if it was that easy, but we absolutely can and will make it happen. Again, I will wrestle anybody on our, I've said it before, I'll wrestle anyone on our roster, and I'll wrestle anyone not on our roster. I've been having this back and forth with Tyson Fury. And he just, his latest comment said, he's deadly serious about having a fight with myself, be it over here or be it in the UK. And if it took myself versus a Fury in a Battle of Britain to get the non-wrestling eyes, on the WWE product, then I would absolutely do that. But basically, I would do whatever it took to have that pay-per-view.
Thank you very much.
Think about it.
We're going to come over to Daniel Wood at the Sportster.
Hello. The question I wanted to ask was that obviously you are the champion at the moment, and you've had a massive journey to get there, from being fired from WWE to then working on the indies and getting your way back into the company. There were lots of wrestlers that were released kind of over the last few months due to the coronavirus crisis. What is your advice to them, having been someone that was fired but now finds themselves kind of as the face of the company?
I mean, I've been speaking to a few of them, and then anyone I've not spoken to that hears this, feel free to reach out to me, please. But this is, the opportunity to really reinvent yourself. And if you had a vision of yourself that you weren't able to bring to the table in WWE, obviously WWE, the machine's constantly moving. It's very difficult to reinvent yourself within the system. And I couldn't have been who I am today without my time away. And I wouldn't have learned what I've learned without my time away. So I'd say just have a look at yourself, be honest, like, who am I? What do I want to show the world? And put that plan together right now, during this time, because the world is going to open up and the independent scene is the healthiest it's been in, I'd say, ever, to be honest. Like, just the level of talent around the world, incredible companies around the world. And if you have something to bring to the table and you are truly good at your job, and you truly love this job, you're going to have the best time. You are going to make money. You're going to make a lot of fans. And eventually, if you choose to, you'll probably be back in WWE. So if you believe in yourself the way I believed in myself, go out, have that fun, learn those lessons, get better, whatever your weak areas are. And one day you could be sitting there with the WWE Championship. Let me turn it around the right way. There we go.
We're going to come over next to Daniel McIver. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hi Drew, good to hear you're doing well. I just wanted to ask you, so many people being in Scotland have come up to me who aren't wrestling fans and go, did you hear that a guy from Ayr has just won the WWE Champion? And it's been so interesting to see so many non-wrestling fans in Scotland become aware of you and see your work. How does it feel that you've almost transcended the professional wrestling scope in Scotland and taken over kind of the mainstream media as well?
Everything about this blows my mind. I try to keep the level head on. I'm just the big wrestling fan who just pursued it and went this far, and I'm still a fan at heart. But it's just bizarre to see, like, the night after I won the WWE Championship, the headlines of BBC for the whole of the UK was the Queen making a speech and Drew McIntyre wins WWE title, and I believe I was ahead of her. For a lot of the time for, like, news back home. And it's absolutely surreal to me. But again, I've got to put my, professional hat on at the same time and say, this is what I've been working for my whole life. I've been looking to become WWE champion. I'm doing it, and I'm getting to be myself and tell my real story. I'm the brand ambassador of WWE. My job is to put more eyes on the product, especially outside. We've got our fans are going to be passionate with us no matter what happens. But we got to get those outside eyes on the product. We got to keep growing the product, and the fact that it's happening back home in the UK is amazing. That's why I go after, like, the Tyson Furies and the Colby Covingtons from UFC and the Chris Suttons back home, and we have that banter back and forth, and they all get it. They get WWE's global reach, 800 million homes, 180 different countries, 28 different languages, over 1 billion with a B social media followers, and they're all entertainers. But that's my job, is to put those extra eyes in the product. But every time it happens and I see a mainstream story in America or back home in the UK, I do have to sit back and go, this is mental. What is going on right now? Can't believe this.
Thanks very much, man.
Thanks for that.
We're going to come next to KJ from Roped In.
Hi, Drew. Nice to speak to you
Hey,
again.
You too.
Drew, when you made your Raw return in the April of 2018, you cut a very passionate promo about coming back to a locker room that had gone soft, people with no fire, no ambition, and you were the wake-up call and reality check that WWE desperately needed. that promo resonated emphatically with the audience because, there seemed to be some truth behind it, and it was what a lot of the fans were thinking. Could you explain in some words if that situation has changed perhaps since your, re-debut till now?
Yeah, I mean, when I said that, I'm not talking about everybody, obviously. I just see a few people that reminded me of myself during my first run, and I get it, I understand. But I look back at that time and I thought, man, like, I wish somebody had gave me a shake and a real wake-up call during that period, and I figured it out within the system. I loved everything I did outside the company, but the fact that I was just sitting there and woe is me rather than working as hard as I could to get better, I can't change it, and I am who I am today because of that journey. But yeah, things have changed. Like, people work so hard right now, especially the situation that's going on. I can't say that everyone's not pulling their weight. I go there with such a limited crew, obviously with the CDC guidelines. Everybody's working extra hours, working their butt off for the company, and hopefully they're seeing, what I'm doing as champion. There's not enough I can do. I'm always asking for extra interviews. I'm always trying to get more eyes on the product. I meant everything I say, that I'm going to, like whatever John Cena did, that work ethic, I want to surpass that. That's my mindset. I don't expect everyone to be like that, but I have seen a big difference in regards to work ethic in a lot of people. And hopefully, those that are getting this downtime now, because I get how it is when the machine keeps turning. Hopefully they're having an honest look in the mirror, because that's the person you're accountable to. If you can look in the mirror and say, honestly, I'm giving it my all, I know I am, things aren't working out, there's not much I can do about it, but I know in my heart I'm giving it my all, then that's fine. But if you can't do that, then that's on you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to come next to Hamza at Vulturehound.
Hello, Drew. Hope you're doing well.
Great, buddy.
My question is, your journey back to WWE and to the championship is well documented, and it's also led to legends like Mick Foley saying that, acknowledging that you proved him wrong, because he initially didn't see you as a main event player in your first run. He thought you were just 3MB was kind of the best for you, but he's admitted that you proved him wrong. Was that your motivation when you were released, to prove people wrong? And what is that like, hearing Mick Foley kind of acknowledge you proved him wrong and that you belong in the main event?
Yeah, definitely initially. I had a huge chip on my shoulder. Up until we were filming my Chronicle, which is on the WWE Network, I had it in my head that, I just hit the ground running. I was confident things worked out. It wasn't the case at all. My wife reminded me as we were filming the Chronicle, I was nervous. I was like, oh my goodness, I've not had these long matches in a while. I've not had serious promos in a while because I was in 3MB. But I do have this huge chip in my shoulder. I do believe in myself that much, and I want to show the world what I'm capable of. And Mick Foley was one of the first people that reached out to me after I did my mission statement promo in ICW. And he said to me, well, actually, I reached out to him, tell a lie. And I sent it out to him. If you get time, can you look at this, Mick? I always appreciate his opinion. Then he reached back out to me and said, my goodness, Drew, where was this guy? And he took the time, which I found out not that long ago, to text Triple H and told him, you need to keep an eye on Drew McIntyre, Drew Galloway. This kid's got something. And at the time, he'd write about what he liked online and put a lot of people over. And he told me, I just want to do something bigger for you. He really believed in me that much. And he took the time and waited till he was on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast and brought it up on there, which was really cool. And I did Chris Jericho's podcast. He's someone else that I really believed in me, gave me that platform. But like you say, a lot of people saw what I had to say, and I basically said, I'm going to become the biggest wrestler in the world, and ICW in Scotland, is going to take over. And people probably thought that 3MB guy's lost his mind. So it was a good feeling to work really hard and start changing those people's opinions and perceptions of me. And I got to the point where there was no chip in my shoulder. I was confident in myself. And if I went back to WWE, that's fantastic. I have some unfinished business. But if I didn't, I was genuinely having fun, outside the company. And to hear some of my peers from, whatever part of the chain you want to look at all the way to the top, hear such positive things about, my work ethic and the journey I've been on, it does mean the world to me.
We're going to come over to Dom Smith at Soundsphere magazine.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. And Drew, nice to speak to you today, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I get to work with a lot of young people who struggle with mental health issues and have poor self-image and stuff. A lot of wrestling fans look up to people like yourself. They struggle with success and what it means to them. They think success needs to be being a millionaire or being WWE champion or a success on YouTube or whatever. And I wanted to ask you what success means to you on a personal level as well as professionally, because obviously you've achieved a lot in WWE and around the world.
I've come to realize that success to me is just being happy. You don't have to be WWE champion. Like I said, when I was outside the company, if I went back, that'd be nice. If I didn't, that's fine too. I got to the point where I was just happy. And I think that's it. Whatever makes you happy, what other people think, it's so easy for me to say, and I'm not the person to speak on it. But whatever makes you happy, my family make me happy, my wife makes me happy, my cats make me happy. If it's video games that make you happy, if it's your family that make you happy, if it's watching a certain television show that make you happy, but if you're constantly chasing others' opinions of you, you'll never be happy. And again, I'm not the person to speak on it. That's just me personally. That I know no matter what, if I'm WWE champion, without it, would I be happy? Absolutely. I've got everything that matters to me in the world. I've got family, I've got my wife, I've got my cats, and that's all I need.
Absolutely. As an extension of that then, obviously as we go into Backlash, what things are motivating you? You mentioned your cats and your family, but specific sort of people, places, music. I'm a big rock and metal fan. Any music that you're listening to or any specific people and places that give you that motivation? Because there's a lot of people struggling at the moment for motivation. So what is, outside of wrestling and work, what is motivating you?
I listen to so many different kinds of music. I think WWE have a playlist out right now, possibly on Spotify or Apple. You'd have to Google it, but you'll see how wide my variety of music is. I'll be listening to rock music 1 minute, especially 80s rock music more specifically. Then I'll have Oasis and Blur on the next minute. Then I'll have dance music on the next minute. There's just so many different pieces of music that will pick me up. And I guess on the subject, mental health during this period, I was never big on social media, aside for work purposes. It is, as much as a great tool as it is a dangerous tool. And I've really seen a change in people when it comes to social media in certain areas. I do see, people struggling and they reach out online and people are going and helping them and lifting them up during these times. And people, when the gyms are closed, are giving each other home workouts and they're really trying to lift each other up. So I have seen a lot of positivity on social media there. So it does exist. And I guess, yeah, that's the kind of things that kind of get me going. There's some good music, some of my cats, the wife, and actually seeing some positivity on there and everybody lifting each other up during difficult times.
Got time for a couple more. So, Gary, let's come back to you. Gary Cassidy.
Excellent. I had a little two-parter here that hopefully leads on a little bit from the last one, but ends on a nice note. So we did speak about, there's kind of two pandemics at the moment, if you will. There's a mental health one going on as well. We've noticed that quite harshly in the wrestling world this past week. The tragic passing of Hana Kimura. Even closer to WWE, Alexa Bliss has had some pretty horrible comments this week. What would you say to the people out there that are either being bullied or doing the bullying?
I mean, there are so many, scenarios and situations around the world that are incredibly upsetting. I don't think that Drew McIntyre is the person that should be speaking on it. I think you should just ask yourself, would I like it if somebody said that to me? It's as simple as that. It takes a lot of effort to not be nice, and it doesn't take any effort to be nice. Just be nice.
Excellent. That's the reason I asked that is obviously because you mentioned it before, so close to your on-screen role in terms of your off-screen role and just who you are as a person. Leading on from that, the one person I wanted to ask you about was someone who opened up to the world shortly after being released, and it's Drake Maverick. What do you think about what's going on with him right now in his WWE journey?
Yeah, it's the real Drake Maverick. that's the real Spud. He's very, very passionate about this industry, much like myself. He's always wanted to do. He's gave his entire life to it. And again, in the situation that he was in, he just put his heart in his sleeve and told the world, I'm still going to keep doing this. He would, and he'd be successful wherever he went. But he's so capable of multiple different roles, not just in the ring. Like, he's so talented when it comes to his mind. He could be writing the show, he could be helping with characters, he can be on the show, he can be a manager. He's so multi-talented. And I do think, going off of this storyline which he created himself, he will be around, and he's going to have a long future here, and not just on camera but off camera too.
Excellent, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Right, we've got time for one last question, so we'll come back to Kenny. Kenny, go ahead.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, Drew, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned earlier about Mick Foley, about the advice that he, you showed him the promo and he gave you the advice. You've been back in WWE for like 3 years now. You've done so many different things. Are there one or two pivotal moments for you behind the scenes of kind of someone coming up to you and saying, saying something that meant something to you, whether it's, I didn't think you had that in you, or welcome to the main event, or like, was there any backstage moments that have kind of meant something to you in the run since you've come back?
Yeah, there's been so many. When I was younger, I'd probably let them have got to my head a bit. I'd be like, damn right, I'm the man. These days, if somebody that I respect, or even people that are new, have something nice to say, I just take it as, that's really cool. And hopefully that just says I'm on the right path. I wouldn't name names, but yeah, it has been from people just starting in the company all the way as high as you can go. I've heard positive things, and I feel very, blessed, because, I've been up and down. I've been all around. If I could give any advice to anyone out there, I was told this when I was younger. I didn't always listen to it. I tried to be, a nicer guy when I was younger, but I was, a bit hard to deal with at times. But be nice to everybody on the way up. It's the same people on the way down. And once again, it takes effort to not be nice. Just be nice. I just don't understand anybody that doesn't think that way.
And just lastly, I wanted to ask you about how hard was it for you to get a Tiger King reference in on Raw?
It wasn't hard at all. They were live. My wife kind of dared me to. And the truth is, she's not a big wrestling fan. And I like that, because she's my sounding board of what works for non-fans. How am I going to get the eyes on the product as the brand ambassador? And she's my sounding board. And we watched Tiger King. It was obviously the biggest thing, not just America, the world. And she kept saying, hey, all you cool cats and kittens. And I was like, what can I do that's different outside the box? So, I'm going to talk down the camera. That's how I'm going to reach people and connect with people. And I wish I was able to do it before, but now I've got free reign to do this. And she said, I dare you to say, hey, all you cool cats and kittens. And I went, okay, I absolutely will. I'm going to try things, see if it sticks. Maybe it'll get memed. Maybe someone on the internet and social media are not watching Raw. They see that, they go, what's going on Raw? And they turn over. And that's kind of my mindset right now. And she does help a lot with that, for eyes outside of wrestling.
Thanks.
Think about it.
Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. I guess as a final word, it should always go to Drew. So Drew, what I would say is it's been an incredible few weeks, few months, but few weeks in particular. So these guys that are here with us on the call have been a big part of supporting you in the UK, along with fans all around the country. So do you have anything to say to these guys and to UK fans in general about what this time has been like?
I just want to thank you. Everybody on the call today. I recognize all your names. I know some of y'all. I'm friends with some of y'all. You've always had my back. Prior to returning to WWE, and some new faces returning to WWE, and you're always saying such positive things. I appreciate you supporting me and supporting WWE in general, especially pushing us forward and getting stories out there during these times. For all the fans in the UK, I can't thank you all enough. The fans are the reason I'm in this position right now. The fact that it's happened, me just being Drew Galloway, is mental to me, and the fact that people have latched onto my story. I guess aspire to inspire these days, and it's cool that's happening. So thank you everybody. I appreciate you all. Make sure you check out Raw and SmackDown NXT every week, of course, and Backlash on June 14th, because I guarantee what everyone thinks of Bobby Lashley and I right now, by June 14th, you're going to be very into it, and you're going to see a heck